So hi guys, this is CGTN reporter Chen Xuan. Today we focus on a topic on China's governance reform and anti-corruption, as China rolls out anti-corruption campaign that's really cutting the distance between officials and public. So today I have a few guests with me. Before we dive into the topic, let me allow them to introduce themselves. Begin with you.
Okay, thank you so much for inviting me this chance. My name is Netsanet Kinfe. I came from Ethiopia. I work for EBC, the state media, for the last 15 years as a reporter, as an editor. So I'm here now.
Bakang.
Good afternoon. My name is Bakang Tiro. I'm coming from Botswana. I'm a journalist with The Patriot on Sunday newspaper. It's a privately owned independent newspaper in the country, and I'm happy to be part of this discussion this afternoon.
Okay, hello, my name is Joy Annie. I'm a journalist from Nigeria, and I work with Abuja Broadcasting Corporation, a government-owned station. I'm glad to be here too.
So China is implementing this a decision on improving parties and officials' conduct. I believe your countries have similar code or policies that are coming out. According to your observation, you have been here for a month. How do you feel? What's your observation on China's governance?
So China governance is, we saw a lot of things. We saw the city and the people and how they live, the lifestyle. It's amazing. So it amazed us, the technology they use.
Any thoughts, Bakang?
Yes, I think since I've been here for a month, I believe that Chinese people, for example, I want to congratulate them for being so warm and good welcoming people. Their hospitality is very amazing all over. So I believe that that part of good culture and spirit, it could be emanating from the fact how government is trying to be closer to the people. The level of the discipline by people shows that the people and government are interrelated. Even some of the government events that we have attended, the hospitality was also welcoming. So it shows that that culture of connectivity between the government and the people is very good thing that is making China to be one of the great destinations to be for one to be at. Yes.
Enjoy.
Yes, China government is basically for the people's service, and this is something that I saw in Qinghai province when we went there. We saw how the government was present in the lives of the people. In a far place, a rural community where it is, we saw how government worked hard to alleviate them from poverty. We saw how, even in every single part of the lives of the people, there is one way or the other government is getting involved, not just to alleviate them, to also teach them how to work for themselves, to generate their own resources. And this is one wonderful service that the Chinese government is doing, which I think should be emulated by other governments.
And let me start with Ethiopia. I know there are similar policies that's undertaken for institutional reform. So what are the main challenges, or what has done well?
So Ethiopia has undertaken institutions reform to strengthen accordingly in public service. What has worked well and where are the main challenge in turning policy into visible result for citizens. So our government has taken various measures to ensure the public service is accountable and transparent to the public. The main strategic intervention taken by the government includes a digitalization of public service with institutions like MASOB and one-stop solution to improve public service. Institute specific reforms starting from improving infrastructure and working procedures, and strong complaint handling and reporting mechanism on malfuncture mechanism, a strong public servant reform to address skills and attitude, leadership demonstration of how Ethiopia can change if has the right political determination of growth and determination working 24/7 for the whole year. So furthermore, the government has introduced the home growth indigenous development plan to take into account the main strengths of the nation and the youth as a stepping stone. And the education sector, we can see the education sector, it's in part of the reformed to be quality-based than quantity-based. So we can see the financial sector. The financial sector was reformed to be opened up to the foreigner, the foreign investment. So we can see the industry and the manufacturing is giving a paramount emphasis to achieve technological advancement. And if you can see, the military is now reformed to adequately defending the sovereignty and the territory integrity of the nations, starting from the doctrine to build a mindset of defending the nation first. And the tourism sector is the same. The tourist sector reformed with a heavy investment on peace and security, and starting and finalizing the big project, just like Grand Ethiopian Renaissance Dam and road infrastructure and other main economy pillars.
So, for example, the 8-point decision that I was talking about that China is really following is more overall, more broader sense, but you gave us a really in-depth understanding of how Ethiopia is doing in finance and education as well as in military sectors.
Yeah. So improving efficiency and balancing the transparency and inclusion is a challenge in the world. Balancing efficiency with transparency and inclusion in a diverse federal country like Ethiopia is complex, involving governments, reform, institution strengths, and fostering political trust, and overemphasize in efficiency can concentrate groups, while an overlay inclusion but a slow process can lead to infrastructure frustration and gridlock. Key stages for balancing these objects are decentralization with local accountability, Ethiopia ethnic federal structure devolved power to ethnically defines regional states aiming to accommodate diversity. And the second one, participatory and evidence-based policy making. And inclusion governance requires involving diverse voice, it's crafting public policy. And the third one is utilizing a proportional representation system or national election, moving from a winner-take-all system to one proportional representation can ensure that diverse ethnic and regional parties are represented in the federal legislation.
I think in terms of, even in the academics perspective, that the balance of independency on investigation and supervision as well as transparency is definitely what's been hard in this entire process. And then I want to come to Bakang because Botswana is often cited as one of the cleanest and most stable governments. And what mechanism have the government implement to have such effective outcome?
Okay, thank you again. Yes, like you have mentioned that Botswana is regarded globally as one of the cleanest governments in the world. This is because of the advantage that we are one of the most democratic countries that remains, especially in Africa. For example, we have held 13 consecutive parliamentary and presidential elections that were peaceful, that were transparent, and were able to foster government transformation from generations to generation. So I think our government is like we regard ourselves as a democratic state, a fully democratic state. Our government is government for the people. It's a government that is accountable and open to the people because the people have the power and they are able to hold government accountable. For example, we have a session where we have a public accounts committee of parliament. It's a committee that is made up of different members of parliament, which can anytime when it feels that something is not happening correctly in government, when it feels that there is some a room for misgovernance, it can able to summon senior government officials like the permanent secretaries. Permanent secretary in our government portfolio is the third in command after the minister or deputy minister in the different ministries. So the permanent secretaries come to account to the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, which is beamed live in all state media and all private media, where the public could be able to learn, to get information about what really is happening. And then after that session of Parliament, of that gathering, the Public Account Committee returns to Parliament, tables that report to members of Parliament, who after the members of Parliament who are also elected by people, and we also as the people, we have the power to hold them accountable. They are supposed to take that reports and recommendations to go to the different constituencies, to go and talk to the members, to the public about such kind of reports. Where there's bad governance, a certain official would be held accountable, forced to resign or removed from office. That's how accountable our government is and open to the people. So that the reason why we are still regarded as one of the most stable democratic democracies in the world is because of that kind of serious public accountability. The people has the power to hold government accountable, and government also has to account. That is the relationship that we have as the people and the government. Yes.
I think this is what is really similar to what China is doing, is the people center that Jai has mentioned, is that in every level, no matter it's county or city, there is way for government officials to get in contact with people, and if people have any needs, that it's immediate response to resolve at different levels at the really forefront. So in terms of Nigeria, it has launched multiple anti-corruption campaigns over the past decade. So what has been the biggest success, and what barriers do remain?
Well, for Nigeria, corruption is everywhere, I would say, because it depends on whose voice is louder. In Nigeria, yes, several corruption campaigns have been sent forth, and our government, especially the current administration through the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, he has been able to, achieve several success against these things. First is the autonomy he gave to the local government areas. This is something that's not been achieved in Nigeria in a while. Now, giving administrative power and at least financial control to the local government areas is something that is laudable and is achievable. This involves, the people that makes up Nigeria in their little ways, and this is what the government has been able to achieve. And it comes to the agencies, the anti-corruption agencies of Nigeria, the EFCC, the ICPC, and the rest of them. They have been able to fight corruption in some way, getting to meet the high-profile cases, the high government officials and other people, even individuals who think they are above the law. They've been able to curb some of their excesses and then take them to court and bring them to justice. These are some of the things that have really caught corruption in Nigeria, and I'm sure it's doing in other countries as well. Yes.
So let me come back to Ethiopia. So what other measures, or from a people perspective, what are the outstanding aspects that you see that are most effective for people that have really good response?
Yeah, there is a corridor development in my country right now, all over the city, mainly in the capital city of Ethiopia. That's a big change for the people, because they were live in the poor area. They don't get, they don't have infrastructure, enough infrastructure. So they get the reform, the advantages. They take like that. So the government built schools for kids, and hospitals, and he gave them water and so many things. So they are taking that like advantage.
It's like in China, it's saying if you want to gain prosperity, you have to build roads first. So infrastructure is often a major perspective that the government has to really work on. For Bakang, so any lessons or current challenges that Botswana has faced, but can be a lesson or tips for China how it could better fight the corruption or improve governance?
Yes, thank you very much again. Yes, I think we, as a country, as Botswana, we have also learned from the other countries, especially like China. We have good diplomatic relations with China. We have just recently celebrated 50 years of good and strong diplomatic ties with the People's Republic of China. We have been seeing our government officials coming to China to benchmark in different areas of governance, in different areas of government or public administration. We have also seen the officials from China coming to Botswana to benchmark, especially on the issue of how we run government as a democratic government, a people-centered government, which is similar to China. So this kind of relationship, exchange of lessons, benchmarking and exchange of notes plays a very important role in terms of us as a country to learn from China, which is now a fully developed, the world's second largest economy. We are learning few lessons from them in terms of areas of development, technology, in how they've done innovation in areas of education, in areas of agriculture development, and as well as uplifting the people of China as well, because we also have similar policies or programs that we are trying to implement in Botswana that are similar to that of China, but because of lack of capacity or expertise from our people or technocrats in Botswana, we are tipping into China to be able to help us with the expertise so that we can be able to expedite efficiently those developments and other governance related issues that we want to improve from our perspective, leaning from China. Yes.
So that comes to my question, just a very immediate follow-up. So if you want to
Yes.
take one thing back from China to Botswana, what would it be?
That will be a development model that China is embarking on. It's very robust, it's empowering people. The developments here are happening at a very interesting pace, and I believe that we also as the country, if we could be able to like I've spoke about benchmarking, if we could continue to benchmark in China, a lot could happen in our country in terms of development, because China has a very unique development model, which is very quite interesting and very inspiring.
And what would it be for Joy? What would you take back from China?
Well, I'll take the development, which I know my government is trying so far, because of the good friendship and relationship we have with China. Most of the roads built in Nigeria now currently is built by Chinese companies. So yes, more of technology and maybe a bit of more of the people-centered governance, which is happening in China, and more development. Basic amenities is something that, I've seen work here. I see a lot of things that are working here. Yeah, that is a more like a prototype that we need to, implement more in our country.
And to be on that, so what are the public perception for corruption after citizen trust is reforms? And what role can media play in bridging that?
Yeah, when there are irregularities in government justice systems, it becomes a problem. Citizens would lose trust, especially when things when it comes to human rights, when they're not rightly addressed, it's a problem. When it comes to inequalities, these are things that, make citizens lose trust easily. Yes, and then when it comes to the media has the power to change these things in every form that it could be. As a media person or as the media it is, if we amplify these government flaws, not for the negative reasons, but for the positive reasons, because as we are the watchdog of the nation. So we must be able to amplify the flaws of the government, not to portray them wrongly, but to put them on their toes, that these are things they're supposed to do for their citizens that they are not doing. Also, the media has to amplify positive aspect of the justice system to create awareness, you know, for the people to know this is what you can, this is what is not necessary, and this is what, you know, just create awareness for them to understand who they are as a citizen, their rights as a citizens. And then also the media must also investigate, report, and expose any of corrupt tendencies and how it is, you know, this is the role of the media, and that's how this can still build the trust of the citizens for their government.
And I think this is also a part of what we do as media. So from your perspective, how can we better report on stories that really are reflecting this, no matter it's anti-corruption, or on how people should understand what the government is doing or trying to do? Any thoughts?
Yeah, no. Maybe we can tell the people how to do things, you know, clearly and transparent. We should be transparent for the people to know the truth. And corruption is, you know, the enemy for us. For the developing country, it's enemy because we are still in the poverty zone. So we should be transparent for our people, I think so.
Bakang, any
Yes,
thoughts?
I think like Joy have said, media is a very important aspect, especially in any government. Media is considered to be a very important partner in terms of development. So I believe that one of the responsibilities of us as the media is we carry the public interest. We know, the public is ought to know through us what is happening. So I believe that having a government that is an open and accountable can able to help media to inform and teach the society or the public about what is happening, what is of interest. For example, if the government says we want to implement one or certain 2-3 policies, we as the media, we are supposed to be close. So having a government that is very close to the media, working close to the media, makes it simple for the public to be informed, and also through the media the public would be now playing a role in whatever policy development or whatever idea is being formulated there. So the relationship, a good relationship between government and the media is very important for any prosperity and development of any nation. Yes.
And if there is one advice that you could give to China in terms of what you think it can be better, what would it be?
Yes, I would say China have done so very well, because we believe that as a communist-led government, it is centralized everything closer to the people. It's like more people have more voice in terms of leading the government. So it's more people being the ones who are leading government, the government for the people. So I believe China has done so very well in terms of that aspect, in terms of being government to the people, similar to Botswana, like I've said. And I believe that more so going forward, China could be able to try, for example, to teach, to be able to share knowledge about other countries, what about the advantages, how being a one-party state or a communist government is being beneficial to it. I believe that it could be able to be open to other democracies, to other democracies to share really the benefits of this one-party state, how beneficial it is. Yes, thank you.
So for me, if I could offer one piece of advice to Chinese policymaker working on the 8 policy decisions, it would be prioritize genuine implementation and continuous evaluation of the policy to ensure they effectively address the intended issues rather than just focusing on the surface level compliance. Engaging at all levels of government and with the public can foster transparency, accountability, and sustainable.
I think it's hard, especially when you need to look for development, but at the same time absorbing what is already there and what works for the country. So it's also a tricky balance to leading the country forward, especially for the party. Yeah. Anything to add, Joy?
Yes, for me, that I'll tell the policymakers to, first of all, maybe, should I use the word orientation now? I don't know, but for Chinese living outside the shores of China to be good ambassadors, better ambassadors. Yes, China people are very good ambassadors. We've met a lot of them, especially on the streets, and you know, I admire their discipline. So those living outside the shores of China should portray this more, you know, outside the shores of China. And also communication. Oh, you don't know what I've been through 1 month. Trying to get, talk to people on the street sometimes is difficult. Yeah, because of the language barrier. It's okay because it's not their mother language, it's okay. But, you know, maybe more engagement in getting to know know that there are lots of foreigners coming into the country, so we should have a platform for that. And then also making ease of doing business easier for some foreigners, because China has opened its doors not just to Africa, to a lot of countries. So, you know, when foreigners come in, to avoid, you know, unnecessary actions, maybe legal actions, if businesses are allowed to be done easily and maybe some form of government support, that would curb all this corruption we're talking about and all of those things. So those are my thoughts.
Well, that's a really good point, and I think what companies overseas and also some of the students that are studying abroad are really trying to become the ambassador of the country. But I feel like now, talking to you guys, there is even higher needs of Chinese should be able to, or those who are overseas should be willing to tell their stories, bring more cultural perspective, and really be the ambassadors. And that's something really refreshing to me. I think this wraps up our today's discussion, and thank you so much for your time. I'm not only really talking about how China is doing to govern the nation, but also I really learned from different perspective on how it works, especially from a journalist perspective, to really understand there are a lot of perspective that China can work on, but at the same time, what we already have can be something that's shared with the whole world and also persists on. And that's this edition of Discussion of Roundtable, and that's all I have. Bye for now.